we have a fantastic guest for you today. And I have to say, with all the news that we're hearing in the world and all the bad news that we hear so often, and the things that we get so concerned about, it is so nice to hear about something that is just like lifts your spirits. So with that, I'm very excited to introduce everybody to Andy Stein, who is the founder and CEO of an amazing organization called the Orphaned Starfish Foundation. So it's really a pleasure to have you here with us today.
I'm honored and pleased to be with you guys today as well. Thank you so much for having me.
So Andy, I was going to ask Andy to talk to us about what Orphaned Starfish is about, because I had no idea and I had to go to your website and really get the download. So give us a background.
Yeah, I just kept saying to Trevor, trust me.
Trust me, it's great.
Trust me on this one.
I'll start high and go low. So the Orphaned Starfish Foundation, so our mission is to help the most vulnerable children around the world have a future. We work with over 15,000 orphans, survivors of abuse, survivors of trafficking, indigenous children, refugees, and at-risk youth in 29 countries around the world. And what we do is we develop the tools that they need to be successful to have a future. And what we do is we develop technology training centers and use that as the base to give them education and job training in everything ranging from Microsoft Office to coding, so that these kids, instead of becoming gang members, prostitutes, living on the street, they become doctors and lawyers and computer programmers, and they break those cycles of abuse and poverty.
That's amazing.
So how incredible is that? And I was talking with you about how, to me, I keep finding more and more the solutions for helping people lies in technology and job training and just getting them the access to all this. So that you have an incredible story though. So can we go back to sort of, how did you get involved with all this? Because I know you like to call yourself a reform banker.
No, I call myself a recovering banker.
A recovering.
You never fully recover.
I'm sorry.
But I'm doing my best to make amends. No, I was a banker 20 odd years ago. I was banker for longer than that, but 20 odd years ago, I was the #1 flyer in the state of New Jersey for Continental Airlines. And I had 2 small kids of my own, but my passion's kids. So that every country I went to the country manager, Chase at the time, and I said, if you want me to come to your country and pitch business, you have to find me an orphanage, 3 hours in the schedule, and let me play with some kids. I make balloon animals, I do magic tricks, and my joy is spent being with children. So all the country managers did it. So everywhere I'd go, I'd find an orphanage and I'd have a couple of hours to spend time with the kids. I speak Spanish and Portuguese. I'd help them with their homework. I just get to know them. I was in Santiago, Chile, and it was an orphanage for the most battered children, battered girls that they had come across, and they all lived in this one orphanage. And I loved going there. These kids were so amazing. They call me Tio Mago, which is Uncle Magician. And the 3rd time back in Santiago, the nuns, I'm a nice Jewish boy from Long Island, but the nuns love me. And they pulled me aside and said, look, Tio Mago, we love you. The kids love you. We can't wait till you come back next time. But I'm not sure if you know what happens here. At the age of 18, these beautiful flowers are considered adults and they have to leave. And there are predators waiting outside. And within a year, 100% of these beautiful children will become prostitutes or live on the streets. That was my aha moment. I said, never again on my watch. And 20 years ago, I went back to the law firm that made the most money off me the year before, blackmailed them into creating a 501c3, raised $40,000 from clients and friends, and determined together, as you just spoke, Jill, that education and job training was going to be the way out for these kids. So we built a state-of-the-art computer center and committed for life to support the training, the teacher, the supplies, everything. And it was, I use the word a lot, magic. I came back 6 months later, the younger kids were the top of their class. The older kids had learned to use Microsoft Office, the keyboard, the internet. They had a skill now. And my favorite statistic out of all statistics I may go through on this call is in now nearly over 19 years with that one orphanage, only one girl's gone to the streets, and they call it La Mala, the bad girl. Every other girl's gone on to university or gotten a job. And now some of those girls are in their 30s, have families of their own, jobs of their own. One's, you heard me tell stories, they're the most amazing, incredible young women. And now they go back and they mentor the kids in the orphanage now.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, what's it like in the earliest generation coming through? Are they still involved? And it's
So it's interesting.
amazing.
3 of our computer teachers around the world came through our program. 2 of the nurses,
Wow.
1 of the doctors, it's one of them opened a hair salon and treats all the girls for free. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that these girls give back. But what's amazing is to just see the inspiration that the early girls give the girls now. And now every one of those girls know that I don't have to go to the streets. I can be like Moni, I can be like Marisol, I can be like Vanya. And I know I can have a future and I can have children. And they take their kids back to the orphanage to play with them. I mean, it's all kinds of things like that.
One of the places I know.
Like?
Sorry,
we always do this because we have so much.
That's all right. I can do 2 questions at once, but I'll do one at a time.
You go first, Jill.
I just, I can't even imagine the feeling, and I can understand how once this starts, how can you possibly turn away from this? It is such an amazing thing to do for people.
Well, that's where the discovering part comes, because about 10 years ago, I gave up banking altogether. I gave up money altogether and decided to do this, what was part-time, full-time. So for the last 10 years, a little over, I've now done this, actually almost exactly now. I've done this full time, and then the foundation's grown and grown. So we started with 32 of those girls in Santiago, Chile, went all through Latin America, then we expanded into Asia, into Africa. We just came to the United States, which we'll talk about later. And now we have 15,000 kids in 29 countries around the world. And I wake up every morning to 20 or so messages to Tio, Papa, Kuya, telling me how much we made a difference in their lives.
That's a different kind of riches, though. That's the best, Andy.
Yes. I was going to say, you look like you just have all this happy energy coming from you.
Well, it all comes from these kids, right? They're kids who just give so much love. And, the only downside in the last 6 months, or one of the, not the only, but a major downside for me is I've spent my life traveling and visiting every one of these kids once a year. And for the last 6 months, I haven't been able to get on a plane. So we've been doing virtual hugs by Zoom, but I can't wait till I can return to the real thing.
So I was going to ask you, I was looking through your, I think it was your annual report 2018, and you were describing a girls' school that it was a school for young women who had children. And you said ages 9 to 18. I was like, oh my goodness. And what an incredibly important sort of facility / program that is for a woman who wouldn't be able to get an education. She already had a child. It must be really incredible because you're affecting 2 generations right there.
Absolutely. So it's a wonderful program in Costa Rica, Posada de Belén. And it's a wonderful woman. And that's the thing. I have these incredible partners in every country around the world. I'd lay down my life for them. They'd lay down my life for me. But this woman basically found a couple of girls who were abused and then got pregnant from that abuse, and then were kicked out of wherever town or village or wherever they were because they got blamed for it somehow. So this woman took a couple of them in, and then she took a couple more in, and kind of like my story, just kind of went crazy. And now she has 55 young women with 65 children in this incredible, incredible program. And yeah, the most shocking thing was to me when I went to first visit is, okay, I'm sitting there expecting 15, 16, 17-year-old girls with babies. The first thing I got there, a 10-year-old girl showed me her newborn. And then I heard about a 9-year-old. I didn't even think that was physically possible.
Not often.
But what's amazing is these infants were born out of abuse, out of anger, out of hate. And the love that these young women had for their children was just amazing. And what this place does is they watch the babies. They have a whole nursery and care facility and a kindergarten, and then allow these girls to go to school themselves and to learn trades themselves. And these girls are amazing.
Wow.
I mean, Andy, you've provided them with something that I just think would be so difficult. I've heard these stories and, working with gender equality in so many countries. And once this happens, how difficult it is. And you have turned their lives and the lives of their children around. It is so remarkable.
And it's wonderful to watch them grow up. So, that I've been doing this for 20 years to see kind of where they were. And then they hear them reminisce about the crazy gringo with the rubber nose that came, and then talked about computers. And even some of them, when they talk about, they were scared of the computers because they had mice. And we just get a mouse running around, and they were scared that they had to touch a live mouse.
Amazing.
Who can blame them? And and actually some of the girls now who have grown up to women, you've become a father figure for them.
So I'm blessed. So I have quite a few. grandchildren. They're obviously not mine, but they treat me like I'm their grandfather. So yeah, so these girls now they've had babies of their own, and there are a few Andreses out there, but mostly they're it's just so satisfying because these girls would have just been living this horrendous life, and now they write me that they're so happy they have a loving partner, and God bless all the guys who do marry these women and fall in love with them, and despite everything they've been through in their lives, and then they have a child and the glow in their eyes that they now have someone that they can give the life they wish they had. And 201, they're the most incredible mothers I've ever come across.
Wow, amazing.
I can see how it's so irresistible, right? Like how you could just not stop thinking about it, and how there's more and more people that you can help. And you are helping people in the United States too, right?
So, one of the things, we have a tremendous success rate. So 90% of the kids in our programs go on to something good at the university.
That's incredible.
Fantastic.
We want to take that back to the U.S. And one of the things was, we had gone out internationally, one, because that's what I was covering as a banker. I was an international banker. And two, because a dollar goes a whole lot longer in some of these developing countries than it would go here in the States. And three, because there's a number of government programs here in the United States where they don't exist in other countries. But there are certainly classes of children here in the U.S. that are disadvantaged, that do need help. And the group that we decided to partner with was the Boys and Girls Club for Native Americans, so Native Boys and Girls Club. And they brought us to the reservations here in the United States. And I have to tell you, the poverty, the levels of per capita abuse, of trafficking in those communities rival anything we do around the world. So it was really a place that we thought we could make a difference, and we have. So we started with the White Earth Reservation in Minnesota. I saw the first snowfall in early October. Hadn't been to Minnesota before, so that was interesting. Started another program in Minnesota for Leech Lake, and then we've expanded there. So now we're in Prairie Ran, Potawatomi in Kansas. We are in Akwesasne, Mohawk in New York and Canada, and then we're starting in New Mexico this year.
Amazing.
It's incredible, right? Go ahead, Trevor. I'm sorry.
I was just wondering how we touched on it briefly before we started, but how's COVID affected all this? You mentioned just the Zoom call thing and not being able to have the, hugging.
There's three different ways COVID affected us. The most stark was as these countries started being affected, as people lost their jobs, as the economies faltered, basic necessities became extremely hard to come by. So we found many of our children lacking food, lacking PPE, lacking necessities. So we stepped in and immediately started funding these. So now we're up to 2,200 families and kids that we're providing monthly food, PPE, and necessities to, medicine, etc. The second was the kids felt very, very isolated. And Jill participated. So we started something called You Are Not Alone. And we started Zoom calls 2 or 3 times a week with an orphanage, so that the kids, and we brought special guest stars. I had the woman who wrote Despacito. I had the Star of Lion King.
I didn't see the Despacito one of my favorites.
Star of Wicked.
They must have loved that.
They all sang to bring up the spirits. And 201, each program said that it was the highlight of their COVID so far. And then the most recent is, as schools are going all online, we have to get peripherals and computers in some cases to the students themselves that can't come to our centers. So we're getting tablets out, we're getting microphones, we're getting earphones, all the things they need so they can go to their regular school online as well.
So it struck me, I'm sorry, Andy, go ahead.
And sadly, we didn't budget for any of this, which is why I'm very much thankful.
I was about to say, how are you making all that happen financially?
Well, again, so we've dipped into reserves, and we have a big gala coming up, which hopefully we'll talk about in a little bit. But we had a wonderful, wonderful support last year, so that we had the ability, because a lot of nonprofits have gone under this year, not having the ability to raise funds. We were fortunate that our year goes October to October, so we had kind of the preparations in place for this up until kind of the gala comes up in the next few months. And Jill and what she's planning on doing as a fundraiser for with you all. So I think it's so important, but we've been blessed that, we had the ability to kind of jump in and fund when other nonprofits weren't able to.
What's remarkable also is how little it takes to really make a difference here. So give us some numbers, because a lot of people, again, it's a tough year for a lot of people, and they want to make a difference, and it doesn't take that much to really change a child's life, I think.
It doesn't. And if you do the numbers, the number of children we reach for an annual budget of under $2 million, basically for $130 to $150 a child, we do what we do. That's on the education part. Now,
That's incredible.
that's the ongoing operation, right? So then the computers we've talked about, a computer in one of these countries is only $500, and we get the software for free through a partnership. So basically, for every $500 is a computer to one of the kids. And then it goes up. You know, a teacher's salary, while in the United States it'd be quite much higher, for $12,000 to $15,000 a year, we get our computer teachers in any one of the countries in which we work. And then you can go up. You can get a new, you know, you can support a whole center for 25K. You can buy a new center for 50K. But as you say, for people who are just seeing how it can make a difference with not a great deal of money, for $150 for the education for a child and for $500 for a computer, you can immediately make an impact. And we have all these beautiful pictures. We don't do a sponsor a child thing. That's not who we are. But we do have the ability to show you exactly where your funds are going.
Can you select
Really
a country if you are, you know, have a tie maybe to,
So we
you know?
have. We prefer it not for the smaller amounts, but certainly for the people who donated the 10s and 25s, we've allowed them to say, okay, I'm from Colombia, my parents are from Colombia, my best friend's from Colombia, someone who passed was from Colombia, I want my money to go to Colombia. Or I want my money, I'm Native American, I want my money to go to Native America. I'm from Peru, I'm from the Philippines. We have developed the ability that if you tell me where your money you want to go, I will make sure that we will make sure that your funds get to where you want them to go.
Wonderful. Amazing. So what's the future? Do you want to grow into more places in Africa, more in the North America? What are you thinking?
So it's interesting. You know, I don't have an ego, so it's not I have to be in 1,000 places all over the world. It's been very opportunistic in where a need has come to me or to the foundation, and it's been something. So for this year, we're honoring at our gala someone a longtime donor who we lost in the last few months, and he was from Kenya. So we've actually opened a brand new program at an orphanage in Nairobi in his honor.
That's cool.
We lost the grandfather to a family here in Miami that I work very closely with. So we're opening a new center in Peru to honor him. And through a partnership with Apple, that's where we're doing the program in New Mexico. So we have a waiting list. Bahamas is definitely on the schedule for next year. We promised something when the hurricanes hit, and we're going to follow through on that. But it's also financial related. You know, this year we really focused rather on building new programs to really ensuring up to making sure that we continue to support all the programs that we have.
So the kids, I'm sorry, the kids are there every day. They're going to
it depends on the program. So about 70% of our programs are live-in. So the kids live in the home or the orphanage or the community, whatever. And then the other 30% are community centers, like the Native American programs or the programs in the favelas of Rio, where the kids come to a central center that we built, but then go home. It's an after-school program rather than a live-in program.
So Andy, you do one of your main things for fundraising is you do an extremely cool gala.
We do a really cool gala.
I am really sorry that I cannot attend my first one.
Well, you will attend
in person, but I will dance in my family room.
So, you know, the thing about gala is we fly up. We used to fly up 10 of our kids and they have a Make-A-Wish trip to New York. They do everything from the Statue of Liberty to a Broadway play and backstage and all of that. And then at night, they would perform. They'd speak about their experiences. They'd sing. They'd dance. They'd just talk about how we've changed their lives and the lives of their brothers and sisters. And then we always wanted to make it really fun. So there's very few speeches and everything is just entertainment. And we've had Journey. Last year we had the lead singer of the band Asia.
Wow.
Folks. Just incredible entertainment and an after party, and it's just festive. It's a networking event. So this year you asked how COVID's affected us. Unfortunately, getting 400 people in a room in downtown New York is not a possibility at the end of October. So we're having what will be the most incredible online event known to man. Not only will we be able to include now kids from all over the world as opposed to just the 10 we fly in. We're able to do video programming highlighting all of the things we've just talked about. And then I've got 4 different incredible entertainment packages that are going to happen because we can now source things internationally. So I have an international group with, I think, 12 different countries, several of which are artists who are recognized not only in those countries, but internationally doing a song. I have Broadway, everyone from Stephen Schwartz to the stars of Wicked, Godspell, Lion King, Hamilton, etc., all doing a great thing. West Side Story is doing a recreation of something they've done.
Mm-hmm.
My friend from Asia now wrote a song for Orphaned Starfish, and he's going to get 80s icons to sing along with him.
Oh, Trevor and I love 80s icons.
I do.
He's giving me some of the
Gotta
names.
Madonna.
admit it.
Literally, it's kind of my idols as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the names are just insane.
80s are.
And then we're honoring kind of one of the godfathers of R&B and soul, a guy named Sam Moore from Sam and Dave. He wrote Soul Man. He's influenced everyone from Springsteen. He was Whitney Houston's godfather. He's bringing a group of talent that will never match. And then we're having a bunch of celebrities kind of come on and just tell you that the whole theme is you are not alone. And they're basically going to come on and tell all the kids, the supporters and the kids, that you're not alone. And those celebrities are kind of off the wall as well. So it's going to be inspirational and really fun. And then next year is our 20th anniversary. So hopefully we'll all be able to come back together. But I'm very much hoping that this year, and with all of your help, drive some new donors to kind of come in and see what we're all about. And even if you can't get to New York now, you have the opportunity, turning lemons into lemonade, you'll have the opportunity to see what we do and firsthand the difference that you're making.
So I was noticing, and again, when I was looking at your annual report, is only 10% of what people give go to administrative costs, which is really low.
Well, I'm a recovering banker, and I run this foundation. I don't run like a foundation. I run like a business. Yeah, with your ROI is social, it's not financial. But I've always I've not had great faith in a lot of foundations that have taken a great deal of their money and used it for overhead. So for me, I've always wanted to keep it right around that 10% level. You do need money to run a foundation. There are expenses. But I wanted to make sure that we were doing the absolute most possible and that the most money was getting to these kids.
That's wonderful. And it is a question that donors are asking much more pointedly, and they want, backup information. So that's very important.
Yeah, no, and it's really important. It's very important to all of us too. It's I consider ourselves stewards of donated money, and people have an option to where to give, and there's a great deal of charity out there. But if they want to help our kids, I want to make sure that they're actually helping our kids. And Jill, why don't you talk about your blessed that you and Richard,
my event? Well, my event might be like a little cocktail party preview of your event. So, so I met Andy and my husband Richard. We met him through a mutual friend, Jessica Levy, who said, you have to meet this guy because of the work we were trying to do with Foundation for Gender Equality. And we were so amazed and blown away by the work that you do, and so touched that I so badly want to go on a trip one day to, like you said, Costa Rica. That might be the best place.
Costa Rica when things open up.
I don't know what could be more like fulfilling actually than to see this and to see this work out. But we're doing a preview event on September 29th where we're gonna have some interesting entertainment to be announced. It's just gonna almost be like a cool get to know the foundation, hear some couple of great stories, listen to some great performers, and I hope people will join us and realize again how they can help without, they can just start with a donation of a computer or taking care of a couple of kids' expenses for the year, or just getting involved with this. They might want to do their own fundraiser. It's so fantastic, and it's so results oriented. That's what I love about it, actually, too. And everything you're doing. I actually have to ask you, how where did this come from in you? Like you said, you've always loved kids. A lot of us have always loved kids. I can't make a balloon animal, but he also makes the most amazing balloon animals.
Right? Animals now in balloons, yeah. But I've been my question my whole life.
Where did this start?
The best I can tell is in a past life I must have been a priest. But I have no idea.
I love it.
But I literally grew up loving working with kids. Even when I was like 10, 11 years old, I was doing charity stuff for kids. I started working with Special Olympics, fell in love with working with all of those kids as well, worked my way up that organization. But it's just been a passion of mine forever, and that and travel. So this combined kind of traveling around the world and doing good. And it just seemed natural, kind of, this is what I've done. But I have two wonderful, loving parents. I hadn't been to Latin America until I was like 15, 16 years old. but
Wow.
this is kind of, it was just, sometimes you're drawn to what you're supposed to do in life.
Yeah.
And I've been blessed that I was drawn there early enough that I could really make a difference.
Now, did you really make 1,000 balloon animals in one day?
I have made 1,000 in the Philippines.
I believe it. You
and
should see him,
in
Trevor.
Ethiopia. Now, I cheated. In the Philippines, I did them all by mouth. In
Oh my
Ethiopia, I
gosh.
cheated, I had a pump. But yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. And the next time, I forgot to pull some out for this. Next time on your show, I have to make some balloon animals.
I'm here to vouch for it. It's incredible, and he does do it really fast.
Yeah,
So,
well, if you make it 1,000 at a time and you only have an hour or so, you gotta go really quick on the assembly line.
So now,
Pretty
what day is your gala again? Please remind me.
Our gala is October 23rd at 8 o'clock.
Okay, October 23rd.
Okay.
And ours is September.
Link.
Our mini is September 29th.
And don't go mini. The intimate
Intimate.
function is on
Yeah.
September 29th. And I think it's awesome as well. I mean,
Pre-game. It's a pre-game. I should call it that.
That's one of the very large donors. We're going to have a post game where you get kind of personal interaction with one of the celebrities and a personal interaction with one of the groups. But I love what you're doing, and I've said it before. We can't do what we do without you doing what you do. The funds that you help raise for us and the help that the exposure that you give us allows us to help that many more. And you asked earlier, Trevor, like we want to give so much more opportunity to the kids we already have as well. So we've expanded and we've started doing coding, robotics,
Impressive.
the Adobe suite of software, the Apple suite of software. These kids, we're doing filmmaking classes now. These kids will have all the opportunities that our wonderful children have had. And what you find is their drive is absolutely amazing. In 201, you'll find that their desire, their determination, their hope is something like you've never seen. And the reason they're such successes, I can tell you about some incredible successes one day, but it's because they've overcome so much that they know that what they want in life, and we're giving them the tools to do it.
Beautiful.
Incredible. So much more to come. One thing Trevor and I always say, the thing that we like to do the most is share things that we think will benefit our viewers. And sometimes it's just, something they could take advantage of that's in town or locally, some information that they might not have had before. But for me to be able to share this, I think, like when I learned this, about you and everything you did, it meant so much to me. And I think that it will mean so much to others they'll be so inspired by you, and hopefully they'll want to get involved if they're looking or they're moved by this. But it's a privilege.
Well, no, it's a privilege to share with you. Thank you guys both so much. Two things. One, osf.org is the website.
I was just about to ask you.
OscarSamFrank.org, or if you go, the old spaghetti factory has.com, I won't give it to me. So osf.org. And again, overall, I very much hope that you continue, obviously, and that the people who are viewing this want to support the foundation and go there and support us and support your function, support our function. But also, just if I can do anything else to inspire you, that anything is possible. This was my passion, and I followed it. There's certainly been ups and downs along the way, but follow your passion. If your passion is helping people, find a way. I'd love it to be through OSF, but if it's through some other way, that's great too. Everybody has the ability to change the world, even in a small way. And if I can just kind of portray that, and what you both are doing in giving voice to what we're doing, to giving exposure to what we're doing, to give financial support to what we're doing, you're changing more lives than you possibly could know. And I take great pleasure in sending you videos and pictures of those lives you are saving.
What's better than that?
Awesome.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I look forward. I will be involved. I'll be there in your gala. Can't wait to see it. And probably we'll Jill, right? We'll put all the links on the website.
We'll put the links up, and then we'll start bringing people.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time out this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
All the best. See you soon.
Thank you, Andy.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.